President Trump reportedly approved Iran strike plans. The LA Lakers are being sold for $10 billion. 7 face charges in a $100 million jewelry heist. And today's trivia question: which state has been scientifically proven to be flatter than a pancake? I think it's gotta be in the Midwest. It's Thursday, June 19th, and this is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. Thanks so much for joining me. We get messages all the time from listeners who say they love starting their day with the Flyover email and tune into the podcast for those extra stories and deeper context. And honestly, that's exactly why we created this show. If you've been here for a while, you know what's coming next. Let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. President Trump approved military strike plans against Iran, but delayed action. After Tuesday's Situation Room meeting, he said he'll wait to see if Iran halts its nuclear program. Iran warned U.S. strikes could spark, quote, all-out war. Israel's 6-day offensive left Iran's 4 to 5 nuclear sites untouched. Those sites, buried under mountains, resist conventional weapons. European ministers will meet Iran's diplomat Friday in Geneva to ensure its nuclear program stays civilian. 7 Southern California men face federal charges for stealing $100 million in gems and luxury watches from a Brinks armored truck in July of 2022. The heist, the largest in U.S. jewelry history, targeted a shipment from the San Mateo County Gem and Jewelry Show. Led by Victor Garcia, the group used GPS trackers and assault rifles. Arrested on Tuesday, they face up to 20 years if convicted. Brinks is suing for $150 million in damages. And lastly, the Los Angeles Lakers are selling a majority stake to Dodgers owner Mark Walter for $10 billion. The deal, the largest for any sports franchise, values the NBA team above Forbes' 2024 $6.4 billion estimate. The Buss family, owners since 1979, will cede control. Jeannie Buss stays as governor. Walter, CEO of TWG Global, also owns part of Chelsea FC and the Sparks. The Lakers, with 17 titles, last won in 2020. In politics, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's 2023 ban on sex change medical care for minors on Wednesday, ruling 6-3 it doesn't violate the Equal Protection Clause. The law, banning puberty blockers and surgeries for those under 18, was challenged by 3 transgender teens and the ACLU as sex discrimination. Justice Brett Kavanaugh's majority opinion said it regulates medical procedures, not sex, and serves a state interest in protecting minors. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson dissented, arguing it discriminates against transgender youth. And also, President Trump will extend ByteDance's deadline to sell TikTok's U.S. operations by 90 days. This marks the 3rd delay. The new deadline, originally set for April of 2025, now falls in July, giving ByteDance time to finalize a buyer amid national security concerns over its Chinese ownership. And President Trump nominated 57-year-old Admiral Daryl Claudel as the next chief of naval operations on Wednesday. He replaced acting Chief Admiral James Kilby. With 35 years of service, Caudle, a submariner and head of U.S. Fleet Forces Command, led submarine forces and earned a Legion of Merit. His nomination, requiring Senate confirmation, follows President Trump's push to expand the Navy to 355 ships. Today's episode is powered by Fatty 15. Aging isn't just about getting older, it's about what's happening inside of your cells. Scientists now know that a lack of C15, an essential fatty acid newly discovered after 90 years, can lead to something called cellular fragility syndrome, and it affects your energy, your sleep, your joints, pretty much everything. Fatty 15 is here to change that. It's vegan, science-backed, and developed with help from the U.S. Navy. You can start feeling better in just weeks and get 15% off when you go to fatty15.com/flyover15 and use the code flyover15. Or if it's easier, click on that link in the description below. Here are those extra stories just for listeners of the Flyover Podcast, and you're not going to find them in the email edition. First, as Israel's strikes on Iran escalate, attention shifts to the U.S. military's GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. It's a 30,000-pound bunker buster. It's designed to destroy deep underground targets like Iran's Fordo nuclear facility, 80 to 90 meters under a mountain. Only the U.S. B-2 Spirit stealth bomber can deliver it. Israel lacks both the bomb and the bomber. President Trump, who left the G7 summit early, hasn't approved its use, wary of Middle East escalation. Iran warns U.S. involvement would end nuclear talks. Next, the 2025 Global Livability Rankings, released by the Economist Intelligence Unit, crowned Vienna, Austria as the world's most livable city. It scored 98.4 out of 100. That's incredible. How did it rank so high? Well, the city excels in stability, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Copenhagen and Zurich followed closely, and Melbourne, Australia dropped to fourth after years at the top spot. The rankings assess 173 cities on 30 factors, and if you're wondering, are there any U.S. cities up there? Yes, cities like Honolulu and Atlanta ranked high, but trailed a little further back due to crime concerns. And lastly, a full 20-minute body workout shared by the one, the only fitness expert, Dr. Jordan Wagner, turns your body into a calorie-burning machine. How, you ask? Well, this workout combines bodyweight squats, push-ups, lunges, and planks with high-intensity intervals. No equipment is needed. That means no excuses. The routine boosts metabolism for up to 24 hours via excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Are you ready to start that workout today? Come on, I'll do it with you. I'm serious. That's your podcast extra roundup for today. Listeners of the podcast will get these types of exclusive stories every morning. And still to come, ESPN just named their top most unbreakable records in sports history. USC football came in second. So who was the first? I'll tell you right after finance. In finance, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates at 4.25% to 4.5% on Wednesday, marking its fourth straight hold. The decision, announced after a two-day meeting, aligns with forecasts of 225 basis point cuts in 2025, likely in June and September. Fed Chair Jerome Powell cited President Trump's tariff plans, which could push inflation to 2.7% by the year's end, up from 2.4% in April. Nippon Steel completed its $14.9 billion acquisition of U.S. Steel on Wednesday, ending U.S. Steel's trading on the New York Stock Exchange. The deal, finalized at $55 per share, includes a golden share, giving the U.S. government veto power over decisions like plant closures, job transfers, or headquarters relocation. Nippon pledged $11 billion in investments by 2028, including $4 billion for a new mill. And next, Gap Incorporated announced a multi-million-dollar investment to expand its Gallatin, Tennessee distribution center. The upgrade, expected to create about 300 jobs, aims to boost e-commerce and supply chain efficiency, handling 30% of Gap's U.S. online orders. Gap, which operates Old Navy and Banana Republic, is countering a 3% sales drop in 2024 by strengthening domestic operations. Here's how the stock market did yesterday. Markets were mixed midweek. The Nasdaq inched up 0.13%, while the S&P 500 and Dow saw small losses. Bitcoin dipped 0.57% to around $104,000, and gold slipped slightly as well to $3,384 per ounce. The big winner of the day? The metals company, which jumped over 24% after announcing a strategic partnership with Korea Zinc. That kind of surge makes waves, especially in the mining and metals world. You can read more about that in the show notes below. In sports, let's start out with a fight on the court. A WNBA Commissioner's Cup game on Tuesday between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun turned violent in the third quarter. Sun guard J.C. Sheldon poked Fever star Caitlin Clark in the eye while guarding her. Clark then pushed Sheldon in response, and then Sun's Marina Mabrey then shoved Clark to the ground from behind. Fever and Sun players broke up the little scuffle. No ejections occurred, but tensions persisted. In the fourth quarter, Fever's Sophie Cunningham fouled Sheldon pretty hard, leading to a brawl and then ejections of Cunningham, Sheldon, and Sun's Lindsay Allen. Caitlin Clark, though, still scored 20 points in the Fever's 88-71 win. Next, ESPN ranked Oklahoma's 47-game college football winning streak from 1953 to 1958 as the most unbreakable record in the sport's history. Under coach Bud Wilkinson, the Sooners went unbeaten across 4 seasons, winning national titles in 1955 and 1956. USC's 34-game streak, which happened from 2003 to 2005, ranks number 2. The top 10 also includes Alabama and Notre Dame. Football fans, you can read more about that by clicking the link in the show notes below. And Vegas odds makers heavily favor Giannis Antetokounmpo staying with the Milwaukee Bucks. Bet365 lists the Bucks at -500 to retain the 2-time MVP, with the New York Knicks at +400 as the next closest. Trade rumors swirled after Milwaukee's first-round playoff loss to Indiana this past year, but Giannis, under contract through 2028, has always voiced loyalty. I personally think he will always remain a Milwaukee Buck, if you ask me. In science and tech, surgeons at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center in Houston performed the United States' first fully robotic heart transplant in March of 2025, but it was just announced this week. The 4-hour procedure, led by Dr. Kenneth Lau on a 45-year-old patient with end-stage heart failure, used the Da Vinci XI robotic system for precision. The patient, now recovering, faced a 6-month wait for a donor heart. Mount Luatobi Laki-Laki on Indonesia's Flores Island erupted Tuesday at 5:35 p.m. local time, spewing ash 6.8 miles high. The volcano, one of 120 active in Indonesia's Ring of Fire, triggered a level 4 alert with an 8-kilometer danger zone. Ash fell on villages, prompting evacuations of 2,000 residents. No casualties, though, were reported. It's Throwback Thursday, so in today's email edition of The Flyover, you'll find a collection of 17 retro baseball photos that captured iconic moments like Babe Ruth's farewell and Jackie Robinson's 1955 World Series steal. While a 1953 wedding photo found in a Michigan library book reunited with the couple's granddaughter, Sarah, thanks to social media. You'll find that as well. You'll also find Arnold Schwarzenegger shared how Andy Warhol and Grace Jones crashed his 1986 wedding to Maria Shriver with a dramatic church entrance. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter at jointheflyover.com. Coming up today, you can save around $35 per vehicle at any national parks. More details about that next. Here are some stories that were just too important to leave out. All 419 U.S. national parks, from Yellowstone to Yosemite, offer free admission today to honor Juneteenth, the federal holiday marking slavery's end in 1865. Regular fees, like $35 per vehicle, are waived, but camping and tours may still cost a little bit of money. And historians confirmed Captain James Cook's HMS Endeavour, used in his 1768 Pacific voyage, lies in Newport Harbor, Rhode Island. Identified by the Australian National Maritime Museum after 22 years of research, the ship was scuttled in 1778 during the Revolutionary War. Sonar and 3D imaging pinpointed the wreck among 13 others, matching its 106-foot hull. And Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen and actress Haley Steinfeld posted honeymoon photos Tuesday from Bora Bora. The pair married on May 24th in Santa Barbara, California. And if you want to see the photos from the honeymoon, it's easy. Just click on the show notes below. Here's yesterday's poll question, and of course, the results. Do you use Amazon's Alexa Assistant? 57% said no, 19% said yes, 17% said, I don't want AI help. Okay, I don't know why I said it with that voice. And 7% said, I use a different assistant. I don't know why I do funny voices sometimes. But here's the poll question for today. Would you trust a robot to perform surgery on you? Yes? No? Or maybe? How would I vote on this? I feel like I would, but only if there was a doctor working alongside with the robot. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if it was a life or death situation and my life depended on the robot performing the surgery, what other choice do I have? And robots perform surgeries all the time, I think. Do they? I have a lot of questions now. All right, who is hungry for some pancakes? Because today's trivia question, which state has been scientifically proven to be flatter than a pancake? The answer? It's Kansas. Kansas is the only state to have researchers scientifically prove that it's flatter than a pancake. In a 2003 study by geographers at Texas State University and Arizona State University, a topographical analysis found that the flatness of the state is indeed greater in some areas than that of a pancake. So, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with thoughts of pancakes and thoughts of coffee and getting your day started on the right note. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Flyover Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. And thank you for those 5-star reviews. We really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow. It is Friday tomorrow, so let's end the week on a great note. And I will say ahead of time, Amy Hess is back from vacation, so she will be with you this weekend. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I am excited about that too. Until then, thanks for flying with us. See you tomorrow.